Now it's happening. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this information event for pupils who are currently in Year 6 and joining in Year 7 next year, and for their parents. I know lots and lots of you have been speaking to either Miss Mason about admissions, or Miss Kerr on reception, or Miss Hooper, my PA. Hopefully this is a useful session now where we can just give you a briefer update and all the information that you need about different topics. If you've not met me before, I'm Mr. Rimmer. I'm the principal at Arks and Albans Academy. And a bit like you, a year ago, I was getting ready to join the school as well. I started here last September. And what I can tell you, first of all, is it's a really great school to join, very friendly and very warm. And I'm looking forward to making sure you get just as good a welcome to the school community next September as I had when I first started. We're going to have a very short presentation. You're going to hear from me and a couple of colleagues. We're going to provide you with a little bit of information about the school and things to know for the future. And then we're going to have some time at the end where you can ask and answer questions. There's a question and answer function which will come up on the screen, and you can type your questions in, and I will do my best to answer those as we go along. And we're going to record this session, and we're going to send you a copy of the recording as well, so don't feel like you need to be writing everything down and making lots of notes. Like I said, this is just an introduction. There'll be a lot more information to follow in the next few weeks. So the first thing I'm going to try and do is share with you some PowerPoint slides. Do bear with us with the technology. It's a tricky thing to get right, to get all the information up on the screen. If I disappear for a moment, don't panic. I will return again very shortly. So in just a moment, you should see some PowerPoint slides appearing. Here they come. I'm just going to make sure you can see what I can see. Just give it a few seconds. And I think now you can see what I can see, which is PowerPoint slides with an agenda on it. So we've got 8 things on our agenda. A quick kind of welcome from me, which you've just had. Then I'm going to talk you through briefly our approach as a whole school. Then we're going to hear from some of our pupils who have joined the school in Year 7 this year, just to give you a bit of a sense of what that's like. Some key dates, some updates around uniform and equipment and helping you feel organised for when school starts, an introduction to the head of Year 7, a quick note on home visits, which are going to look very different this year. And then, as I said, opening up some time for any questions. So let's dive in. In terms of our approach as a school, the thing I want us to start with is the idea that we're climbing the mountain to university, because we believe that's the most effective way to challenge every individual to make the most of their God-given talents. In terms of climbing the mountain to university, that's the priority for us. We believe that if all children, when they're 18 years old, are able to attend a great university, their life chances are going to be so much higher. We're not saying that every child has to. We're not going to force them and drag them and make it happen, but we want to make sure that when children leave our school, they have the opportunity to go on and do that. Our approach to making sure that happens is based around what we call our pillars. We have 6 of them. You can see them there on the screen. And we have really, really high expectations, both of ourselves and of the children. We are 100% committed to getting them a great education. We hope they will join us in that commitment. We expect that our children are going to go to the very top universities, and everything we do in the school is planned around making that happen. We're not about trying to get children average grades. We're not about trying to give children an average or a standard experience. We want to give them something exceptional. Excellent teaching is at the heart of everything we do. We've recently been named a teaching school, a national teaching school hub, which recognises the strength and the quality of the teaching provision here at our school, and we're incredibly proud of that. Exemplary behaviour is really important. As the person in charge of the school, the senior team and all the teachers down, what we will commit to you is we will not rest until all of our classrooms have a really, really good standard of behaviour where every child can learn. That's not to say mistakes don't happen. That's not to say things don't go wrong sometimes. They do in all schools. But we're really committed, from me down and the rest of the team, to making sure that any disruptions or distractions are completely minimal and don't get in the way of anybody achieving the very, very best. Depth or breadth, we really focus on getting English and maths right, particularly in year 7 and 8. We know that success in English and maths is going to be what drives children towards getting great grades in all of their subjects. And we're really determined that children start well in English and maths, and the transition from primary school is really, really important. We want to get to know every child well. One of the things that's unique about our school is that compared to lots and lots of other secondary schools is we're quite small. In different years and recently, you'll have seen we've had different numbers of children coming into year 7, but the norm and what we will have every year, including this year with your cohort, is just 120 children coming into the year group. In many schools, year 7 will have 180, 200, 220 children in it. We're really pleased that our school can be so small. It means we can get to know you and your children incredibly well and have a really clear plan for them and their success over time. And finally, this idea of always learning, making every minute in school matter and also making every minute at home matter too. Really focused on homework. A huge priority of mine is getting homework right in the school and making sure we're taking every opportunity to learn as much as possible. Really excited about welcoming all children into the school in September, being able to talk to you all about this in much more detail and in person, hopefully, once COVID restrictions have lifted. But I hope you're as excited as I am about what's to come. In terms of the mountain and why we talk about climbing the mountain to university, for two reasons. One is, when you set out to climb a mountain, doing so is a huge achievement. It's a hugely challenging thing to try and do. And not everybody gets to do it, and not everybody gets to the top. And that's where we need to start. That what we're trying to do here is exceptional. It's crazy. It's saying we're going to find the highest mountain in the world and we're going to go for it and we're going to get there. And we have to approach everything we do with that same level of joy and enthusiasm and determination and the real challenge that's going to come. It's not going to be easy. We're going to have to really commit and work hard. But the second reason why I'm excited about climbing the mountains university is when you do get to the top, you have that moment of joy, of success, of pride, of feeling a real sense of achievement and that beautiful view into the distance of what our future will look like. I'm really excited about the idea of climbing the mountains to university. When our children start with this in year 7, we're right down there in the valley at the bottom of the mountain, and we're going to work really, really, really hard to make sure that every single one of them gets to the top and has that opportunity to go to a great university when they're 18 years old. And when we talk about great universities, this is what we're talking about. There are 101 different universities in the UK. What we're talking about at St Albans Academy is the top 30. We want the very, very best for the children that come to our school. As parents, I'm sure you want the very, very best for your children. We're talking about children coming to our school and leaving us with the grades that they need to go to a highly selective destination. The sorts of places that are competitive to get into, that once they've been there and succeeded there, the life chances and the opportunities they have in terms of their career and other opportunities will be huge. So we're talking about aiming for A stars and A's in our A levels, 7s, 8s and 9s in our GCSEs. And we're not going to set our sights any lower than that. And we're going to make sure everybody makes rapid progress and everybody's in a position to succeed. I want to make sure you get to hear from some of my colleagues in just a moment. So it's not just me you're going to see. But first of all, we asked 2 pupils to give us their insights into what it's been like moving from year 6 to year 7 this year. And I'm going to play these videos for you, and I'm very confident that they're going to work, and the sound is all going to work out well too, but it is a bit of a cross your fingers moment. So let's see what happens.
Oh, hello. My first year at Arks and Albans Academy has been a difficult one because of COVID, but my head of year really helped me during this time. I always had work to do, and the school supported me by allowing me to be in school, as I found it difficult to learn at home. My teachers were amazing helping me with my work, and I really appreciated the help and support they've given me.
Good, so that was Henok in year 7, and now we're going to hear from one of his peers as well.
I love being at Arks at Albans Academy because I love being challenged to learn new things. They have really high expectations of me and all of us in the school, and I like that as it drives me to be better. My favourite subject is maths, but I enjoy all my lessons because my teachers ask questions that make me think really hard about what I am learning. All the other students in my class also work hard, and we often work together, challenging each other. I hope to go to sixth form and university when I leave and study to be a surgeon. Thank you.
Oh, hello.
Oh, It started again.
I love being at
My
Arks
first-
at Albans
And that
Academy
wants to go
because I
twice.
love being
Let's
challenged
just stop those
to
videos.
learn new things. They have
Very
really-
impressive and confident young people. I'm now going to see if I can move beyond them without them playing again. I can. Right, I'm going to hand over now to Mr. Cole. Mr. Cole is Vice Principal in charge of pastoral care and behaviour, a really, really important figure in the children succeeding when they start with us in secondary school. He's going to talk to you about some key dates and a couple of other things.
Thank you, Mr. Rimmer. Hello, everyone, and great to meet you all virtually. I look forward, as Mr. Rimmer said, to meeting you all in person very shortly. I'm going to talk about a couple of operational things that are coming up over the next few weeks and months, and then also looking ahead to preparing for your child starting with us in September in terms of the uniform and equipment that they're going to have ready to be able to make a successful start. So firstly, dates. Mr. Rimmer has already mentioned in a number of pieces of correspondence, in letters and in conversations with many parents around what we're calling home visits, but aren't really home visits over the course of this term. Normally, as Mr. Rimmer has said, we would go out to meet you in your homes and meet your child as well, who would be coming to start at our school. Unfortunately, that's not going to be possible this year. So instead, what we've done is invited everybody in to the school to come and meet with Mr. Rimmer and another member of the senior team. Those are happening during the half-term holiday, which is the week beginning the 31st of May. Some people who haven't been available in that week have been invited to come in slightly later in June or July. If you haven't had your appointment time yet, please do get in contact with the school, and we'll make sure that we have got that time in the diary. We'll get in. We'll give some contact details about how to do that at the end of this event. Another important date to have in your diary is Transition Day. So this is the day where every year 6 across the city goes into their secondary school. And the date for that is Wednesday, the 7th of July. So rather than going to primary school on that day, your year 6 child will come to us, and we will give them a little flavour as to what life is like at Arks and Albans Academy and what they can expect when they come here in September. The new school year will begin the week beginning Monday, the 6th of September. We don't have any exact dates yet around which day year 7 will start, because we'll probably have a staggered start, but you can count on year 7 being one of the very first, if not the first, year groups that come back into the school. So that will be the week beginning Monday, the 6th of September, with a more precise date, a specific date to follow in due course. Now, uniform. Uniform is something that we consider to be incredibly important at Arks and Albans, because it's something that shows the pride we have in our academy. It's something that makes us all equal. It means that we haven't got some students turning up, some pupils turning up in the most the newest and the most expensive trainers, and other pupils who might not be able to afford those things turning up in slightly different clothing. Everybody wears the same clothes. Everybody wears them to the same standard that makes sure that everybody is equal and everybody can be treated the same, which is something we feel very passionately about. You can see some examples of our students wearing our uniform very smartly on the left of the screen there. Some of our year 11s who have gone into sixth form in year 12 this year. So you can see we've got the black blazer, the gold and blue tie, white shirt, black trousers and black shoes. All of our uniform is available from Clive Marks, and there are two stores in the local area that you can go to, one in Kings Heath and one in Small Heath. This list of the different items that you will need to have before September is available on the school website, and Clive Marks also have a list of the uniform that you need to purchase. It includes a school bag, as well as all of the items that I just mentioned for students to have on their person. There is also a PE uniform, which if I flick back to the previous slide, you can see one of our students modelling there. So there is a blue t-shirt, plain black jogging bottoms, and there is an academy fleece that you can buy as well, and then plain black shorts. That's alongside trainers and black socks. Again, this information is all on the school website. This PowerPoint, this presentation will also be sent out so you can see it in a number of different places. Please make sure that you've got the correct uniform and the correct PE kit before September. And as I say, Clive Marks have got all of that available to buy. Here's some examples of some things that aren't allowed as PE uniform. You'll notice that I mentioned plain black trousers there. Here, you've got some examples of trousers which would not be permitted. So ones with large logos, such as the Nike trousers you can see there, or the ones with the 3 Adidas stripes going all the way down. Those would not be permitted. Here's some examples of what we are looking for. So plain black with a tiny logo is permitted, and you've also got our official academy bottoms and shorts that you can purchase from Clive Marks as well. So just an early heads up about the things that you'll require. As I say, really, really important that we've got those things from the first day. So that day that's the exact date to be decided and to be shared in due course. That will be the week beginning the 6th of September. On that day, we really need you to make sure that your child's got all of those things that we just mentioned, so they're ready and they are meeting our high expectations from the very beginning. In terms of equipment, you will need to have the following. This is how we lay out our equipment on the desk at Arks and Albans. We're really specific about that because, again, it's something which makes sure that we're in really good routines, really good habits. So you need a black pen, a green pen, a pencil, a ruler, a glue stick, a pencil case, including all of your maths equipment. So that includes a calculator, a protractor, a planner, which will be given on the first day, and a reading book. Okay, all of those things are required from the very first day. I'm now going to hand over, you're going to meet now the member of staff who's going to be your head of year next year, Miss Maisha. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to her and she's going to give you a short introduction to herself.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Miss Maisha, and I'm going to be the head of year for the incoming year 7, as Sir mentioned. So a little bit about me. I grew up in Birmingham. I went to school here and sixth form here, and I then went on to study a degree in psychology at the University of Warwick. I then went on to do more education and studied a course on leadership and learning at Birmingham City University. And then I ended up here as a science teacher and head of year 12 at Arks St Albans. I'd like to explain a little bit about why I became head of year. So I've always loved education. I had a really positive experience where I had great teachers who made lessons interesting, and I had good friendships, so I always felt comfortable. I want the students who come into school next year to have the same positive experience that I did. I want them to be happy here and to go on to do great things. In order for them to climb the mountain to university, my vision for them is that they feel safe at our school. They feel a sense of belonging, so they know that they belong here and how they fit in. They know that their teachers do care about them, and that they become confident young people while they are here with us. I'm particularly excited about doing this with year 7 because I know we have 5 to 7 years to help them achieve all of this. In addition to being excited about welcoming them here, I also have very high expectations of them. They need to do their part to make sure that they develop themselves while they're here. So what I'll be looking out for is excellent attendance, so they never miss a day of learning, full effort in every lesson so that they never waste learning time, and also that they have sensible behaviour so that we can focus on doing the best job we can for them. In order to make sure these high expectations are met and reward them when they're getting things right, the Year 7 team and I will be in constant contact with you parents, and we hope that we can work together to get the best out of the students. So I can't wait to welcome you all the Year 7s into our school, and I look forward to the things we will achieve together over the next few years. I'm going to hand back to Mr. Rimmer now.
Okay, so I hope it was helpful to hear from Ms. Maisha and from Mr. Cole. Obviously, in a normal year, we'd have everybody in person and you'd get to meet lots more colleagues and get a better flavour for the school. I'm hoping, though, that when it comes to the home visits Mr. Cole mentioned, as I said, not really home visits this year, appointments where you're coming in to see me. And I know Miss Hooper, my PA, has spoken to many of you on the phone to arrange these meetings. They will be an opportunity for us to get to know each other really, really well. And I'm really excited to be able to say that I'm going to be able to have sat and have had a really thoughtful meeting with every single family and every single pupil who's coming to join the school, so that I'll be able to ask any particular questions that you have about the school or about your child in it, or any information that you're still not sure about. So, if you still have questions about uniform or equipment, we've got that time together in June to really make sure that everything is clear and you feel really comfortable and confident that you know what needs to happen. There'll also be an opportunity when we meet to complete any final paperwork. But what I'm most excited about doing is just talk about what parents, your hopes and aspirations are for your child, and children, what your hopes and aspirations are, what you want to achieve, what you're looking forward to. But crucially, that is a time where I want you to leave feeling both very excited about joining the school, but also really reassured. So do come to those meetings with any questions, worries, concerns that you have, because there'll be time for us to talk about it then. Good. Final things to say then before I kind of open up to questions, and Mr. Cole is going to open up the kind of question and answer session so you can begin typing any questions that you may have, is there's obviously a lot of information when we're getting ready to move from primary to secondary school. You've had a quick blast, hopefully, that's been helpful this afternoon. There's some information here. We're going to send this recording to you tomorrow via email so that you've got it if you want to look back through anything else. The website is very up to date. There's a huge amount of information there. We're going to have these meetings together in June. We're going to have the transition day where the pupils visit us in July. There's plenty of time, and I don't want anyone to feel worried or anxious about getting ready. We've got plenty of time together to make sure we're ready to welcome the children in September. But if you do have any worries or questions or concerns, then you can call or email Miss Hooper, and she will make sure there's a time for you to speak to me or to somebody else on the team. Okay, we are going to stop sharing the slides. I might disappear just for a moment, but then I'll be back and you can be typing in your questions. And like I said, I will do my best to answer as many of them as possible. So let's see how we organise that. Should just give me a second. I think we're back in business. So going to open up the question and answer session so that I can see it. Mr. Cole's published one question for me to talk about, so I will go straight in with that one. Thank you, sir. Does the school have a plan? Sorry, my computer's just moved. Does the school have a plan to help out families on low incomes that have more than one child join already at the school, with another about to join them, around uniform costs? We don't have a particular plan. Obviously, every family will have different circumstances, but that's definitely the sort of question that I'm happy to talk to families about when we have the home visits, because the solution to that is going to be different for everybody. There are lots of costs, I know, about getting ready to come to secondary school. There's lots of costs about having a kid in secondary school. We plan out as carefully as possible to make sure they're controlled and limited. There's some things we're going to be able to do for free. So one of the things that I'm very excited about is being able to provide every pupil in year 7 in September with a laptop that they can use and have at home to complete their homework and their studies on. So there's definitely plenty of ways we will try and help. Don't have a particular plan about uniform, but where families do have those concerns, exactly the sort of concern to bring to me when we have the kind of home visit meeting that will be in school in June. Okay, let's see what's coming next. For the meeting, do we come into school? Yes, you do. So I'm going to stop calling them home visits. That was just how we used to call them. New lingo. We'll come up with a new name. Induction meetings, I think, is what we'll call them. So if you haven't already, Miss Hooper will call you in the next couple of days to book the time. She's spoken to many families. We'll have that meeting in school. Come into the main reception. You'll be welcomed there, and then you'll come in to meet with me, and somebody else from the school will be there too. The children, a couple of children have already asked me for their brothers and sisters. They don't need to wear their uniform. It's not a kind of formal meeting. They just need to come in ready to have a conversation about their future, their questions about the school and these sorts of things. But Miss Hooper will be in touch to organise those meetings if she hasn't been already. Okay, let's see what's coming next. What do we need to bring for the first day of secondary school? It's a great question about getting organised. So I'm not going to tell you now, because if I told you now, you'd forget. But in the meeting that we're going to have in June, on the transition day, we will make sure that you've got a list that you can take home, you can put on your fridge or on your kitchen wall, on your bedroom wall to remind you, but it will basically be your equipment, your pencil case that you need for studying, and that will probably be all you need on the first day. But we'll make sure you've got got a list before then. Okay, what's coming next? Will there be clubs? Yes, there will be. And I know there haven't been any clubs this year and because of COVID, and I know that in recent years there maybe had not been as many clubs as we'd like. There's lots and lots of plans underway to make sure we've got a big range of clubs ready to offer the children in September. Lots of sports, but also lots of other things as well. Really pleased that people are asking about that already. And I'll definitely be asking you when we meet, what sorts of clubs would you like to take part in? Because I really want year 7 to be taking part in lots of activities after school. So really good question, thank you. Will children be allowed to bring mobiles? Oh, what a brilliant question. So I could talk for a long time about mobile phones. So the school rules are that mobile phones are not allowed, and if mobile phones are seen in school, they will be confiscated. And that's pretty normal. That's what most schools will do. My strong advice to parents, having been working in schools for a very long time, is that if your child is in year 7 or they're in year 8 or they're in year 9, they should not have a smartphone. They shouldn't have a Samsung. They shouldn't have an iPhone. It's dangerous. Access to the internet is really dangerous, and I've seen some terrible things happen because children have those sorts of phones. I know it's very difficult for parents because children really want those phones and they ask for them and their friends have got them and they want them. So anything I can do, parents, to help you, support you in those conversations with your child, is you can hear from me as the head teacher from the school, smartphones are not a good thing. If you want your child to be able to have a phone so they can contact you on the way home or while they're traveling, old-fashioned Nokia phones, definitely do that job. Children shouldn't have phones with the internet on them. I feel very strongly about that. But in summary, the school rule is whatever phone they have during the day while they're in the school building, if it's seen, it will be confiscated. Okay, what's coming next? On the transition week, do we wear their uniform? Really good question. So it's only one day we're going to come in before the summer. It's the 7th of July. I'm checking Mr. Cole, that date's right, the 7th of July. On that day, no, we will probably ask them to wear a t-shirt that we will provide to you in advance. So you'll probably get that from me when we have our induction meeting, I expect. It's a good reminder for us to get that organised, and probably the trousers or the bottom half clothes that they wear for their primary school. But I will talk to you more about that in the induction meeting, so you know exactly what to do. Good question, thank you. Will we receive a voucher towards the uniform? Again, it's the question somebody asked earlier on. I'm going to say that that's not something that I've known has happened in this school before. Obviously, I've told you it's my first year here. If people have got worries about uniform and costs, raise them with me in the induction meeting, and I'll do my best to address them there. I think we need to make sure that we're ready and we've got our uniform organised for September, but you can definitely wait until you met with me before getting online and ordering it. That will still give you enough time because they don't need it for that day in July. Okay, let's see what's happening next. Mr. Cole says there's more questions. Here we go. Will there be events just like in primary, for example, World Book Day? Yes, we really want those sorts of events coming up. We, again, in the last few years, maybe haven't done as many of those events as we'd have wanted to, particularly this year because of COVID. We're looking just a bit like clubs to having a really clear plan of events that we can look forward to, special occasions that we want to celebrate. It might not necessarily be World Book Day, but those sorts of events will definitely be on the agenda for the next academic year. And as much as possible, we'll be looking to tell parents about them and get parents involved just as much as the children. Okay, let's see what's coming next. Is there a specific stationery brand we'll need to have? Thank you for that question. And do we get a laptop or an iPad to do our homework? So on stationery brand, there's not at the moment, but we're going to have a look at that so we can be as clear as possible, because we don't want parents to be wasting money on the wrong things. So like I said, we'll give you a really clear list. So for example, the maths teachers might need you to have a particular type of calculator. We're going to make sure you've got clear guidance about what type of calculator you might need, and you're going to have that before the summer, so you have time to get organised. So right now, nothing that I would say specifically that you need for stationery, but we'll make sure you've got it. And in terms of computers and things, every single pupil at the school next September will have a laptop computer, which is assigned to them that they keep at home and they use to do their homework on every single day. I'm really excited about being able to hand those over to the children. We'll talk about when those will come out to you. I imagine they'll be in early September, we'll speak to you more about that in the induction meetings too. Okay. Do we have a breakfast club? We will have a breakfast club. It's not currently running. Again, one of the other things we had to shut down because of COVID, but we will have a breakfast club, yes. Will we get a tour of the school? So normally, right now, I wish this event was live and in person and you were all here, because after I finished talking, we'd have then gone off and had tours of the school in groups. We've obviously not been able to do that today. You will get to see a lot of the school on the 7th of July, and you'll definitely get to see where all the different parts of the school are when you're here in September. Let's see what's coming next. Here we go. What other stuff will Year 7 do? So many things. So obviously we'll have all of our subjects: English, maths, science, French, geography, history, RE, music, DT, art and PE. So lots and lots of different subjects, but we're also going to have lots of clubs. We're going to have lots and lots of homework. As I said, I think homework's really important, and something I'm really excited about. We're going to try and have lots and lots of trips, because I think trips are really, really important. And so if you like trips, you can look forward to going on some trips when you're in Year 7 next year too. I can see a few more questions coming in, so we're going to try and go through some of those. Do the children get a routine for their subjects? Thank you for asking. So yes, they'll have a timetable, which will say English lesson 1, math lesson 2, and so forth. The children will get that. They'll probably get that in September, and parents will get a copy too. What I'm excited about for September is we're going to make some changes to the school, and the school's going to run a little bit like what I think the children will be used to from primary school, where the children will have their classroom that they stay in with their classmates, and it will be the teachers that move and come to them. Because I know one thing that Year 7s find quite worrying or new or strange when they move into secondary school is having to find their way to different places and know which classroom to be at and to follow a timetable. We're going to try and cut out a lot of that worry and that anxiety by having what we call homerooms, a room that the children call their own seat, their own desk that's theirs, and then their teachers will come to them when it's time for their different lessons. And when it's time for the sort of lessons that need specialist spaces like PE or a science lab or art, we'll then go to those classrooms to do those subjects. But for most of the day, the children will have their classroom that they're in, just like they do now while they're in Year 6. Okay, scrolling on, we see some more questions. Does the school support children with additional needs? Yes, of course we do. We've got a Senko called Miss Moffat, who'll be coming out to visit lots and lots of the primary schools after the next half-term holiday, and she'll be talking to all of the Senkos in those primary schools and gathering all of the information that we need. We're really, really proud in our school of how well the children with special educational needs have done, both in terms of being able to take part in lots of different activities and to be really included in the joy of the day-to-day events in school, but also making sure they get really, really good grades as well, and they make lots and lots of progress. Previously, a few years ago, before I was a head teacher, I was a Senko myself, so I feel really, really passionately about making sure we're getting things right for those children with additional needs. Okay, what's happening next? Mr. Cole's pressing some buttons. Here we go. I'm sorry if you couldn't join via your phone. That's unusual, or ask a question via your phone, but I'm glad you're here now. Will you improve your attention communications, for example, provide more details via email or message? Good question. I've spoken to lots of parents this year about, with me being new, tell me about what you like about the school, what you find challenging about the school. Lots of parents have talked to me about the detention system and the information that they get. And I think, while I think the detention system broadly works, we've got the right decisions happening and the right behaviour policy, I really understand that it can be frustrating as a parent if you don't think you're getting all the information, or you're not getting all the information quickly enough. So I think 2 or 3 things. One, the messages that get sent out, the emails and the texts, as you can imagine, they're like produced by a computer system. So it's hard to put more information into those. That is difficult. And we need to rely on those messages so we get the basic information out. What I'm really committing to, though, is that where parents want to find out more information, where parents want to be able to speak to their head of year, you just met Miss Maisha, to find out exactly what's going on, that the communication between ourselves and parents will be a lot better. More emails, more phone calls, more open, so that we really have that trust. and real open communication, so that it's not a surprise when something happens in the school, and you as parents feel really confident in the systems and the processes. So I agree, we've got work to do to build trust and build confidence in the processes. I think they're the right processes, but we're going to communicate as best we can, and we're going to keep trying to do better at it. Okay, Mr. Cole's giving me a note. He's saying there's some questions coming about homework, so let's have a go at those. Will there be homework every day? Great question. Yes, is the answer. So one of the things that I feel most strongly about as a head teacher is if we get homework right in the school, then we're going to improve children's grades. It's a fact, because the children have 6 lessons at school every day for about an hour long. If they then go home and do another hour, a 7th hour, and they do that every day, that's 5 extra hours a week. If we do that for a whole month, that's 20 extra hours a month. If we do that for a whole school year, we're talking thousands of extra hours of learning. And every extra hour is going to make sure the children make progress. I've seen it with my own eyes in previous schools. If we get homework right, grades go up. So every day, children will get homework. In year 7, they'll get reading and maths homework and some homework from their other subjects. And they'll do it mostly online using the computers, or there'll be some work they need to do in their books as well. Every day it will be checked in school the next day, and if it's not done, or if it's not complete, or if the children need more help to do it, they'll then stay that day after school to make sure they've got it done. So we don't have patterns where particular children don't do homework for weeks and weeks and weeks in a row. We're going to get homework right from day 1 in year 7. Also, when your child comes in for the induction day on the 7th July, we're going to provide them with some practice homework they can do over the summer holidays, so when they come back to the school, they've got some things to show that they're proud of to show their teachers. Let's see what's coming next. Mr. Cole's talking about homework club. So do we have a lot of homework? That's a really good question. So what we assume is that the homework we set will take between an hour and an hour and a half each day. And you might say to me, like, Mr. Rimmer, that seems like a lot in year 7. 2 things. 1, we have a very short school day. The children go home at 3 o'clock every day. That's earlier than some primary schools. We also go home early on a Friday. We go home at 2:20. We've got to do that extra hour's worth of learning when we get home. Otherwise, we're not going to get great grades for our children. So that's the first thing to say. Second of all, if the children are finding the homework hard or challenging, or they want to be able to stay at school to do their homework, somewhere quiet like a library, we're going to make that possible over time. And also, if our children want some extra help from some adults to make sure they're doing their homework well, that's also going to be available. We'll have a homework club, again, something that lots of you be familiar with from primary school. We're going to have a homework club that children can go to, and that parents can ask their children to be signed up for, so that we know for some children getting homework done at home can cause quite a lot of challenge, puts a lot of work and expectation onto parents. We're happy to take some of that work from you parents, and we'll work with you and communicate with you about that over the next few months to make sure we start right in year 7, but lots of homework to come. Okay, got some questions about lessons, Mr. Cole says. So, will we have more than one teacher? Yes. So, obviously, lots of you will come from lots of different primary schools. In some primary schools, some of you will be used to having the same teacher for nearly all of your subjects. In some primary schools, you might have one teacher for English or another teacher for maths, or you might have one teacher in the morning and one teacher in the afternoon. At secondary school, it doesn't work like that so much. At secondary school, you have subject specialists, experts, people that have university degrees in the subjects that they're teaching you, and that's really exciting. And so you'll have English with an English teacher, and maths with a maths teacher, and science with a science teacher, and so on. The difference at St Albans next year will be, rather than going to lots of different classrooms to find those teachers, you're going to have your classroom that's safe and that's your space that you stay in, and those teachers are going to come to you to teach you, and I'm really excited about that. The next question talks about how many children will be in the classes. So at the moment, when you look at the school, there's somewhere between 20, 25, 26 children in each class. That will depend a little bit on different numbers, but I would say around 25 children will be in the class, but that will change as and when as numbers go up. But I think aim for around 25. Going to keep scrolling down. In terms of what are the different subjects, good question. I listed them before, which is a test of my memory. I'll do it one more time, but if not, they are on the website. English, maths, science, geography, history, French, religious studies, PE, DT, arts, and music. 11. I've got to 11. If somebody tells me that I've forgotten one when I meet them in the induction meeting, they can have a prize. So 11 different subjects. Again, a big change from primary school, which is why we're going to help make sure we start things nice and slowly. We're going to have the transition day in July. We're going to have some time in September before the timetable starts properly to really help the children feel comfortable and confident and organised. So no one needs to worry. Everybody in year 6 in the whole country has the same question and the same worries, and it all works out fine. I promise you. And we're going to have a really good plan to make sure you've got the information that you need. Okay, let's see what's coming next. Why is your school a good school compared to others? These are good questions. People are thinking hard here. Okay, let me try and give you some reasons. I feel like I'm having a job interview here. So, why is our school a good school compared to others? So, I think first things first, children in the school, when they're in year 11, and when they're in year 13, so when they do their GCSEs and their A levels, get very, very good results. And they go on to, when they're 18, very, very good universities. We're very excited this year, for example, we've got 4 children who have got offers who are expecting to go and to do medicine degrees, to train to be doctors. That's really cool. And to have 4 children in 1 year group ready to do that, that's really impressive. If you look at our results at GCSE, they're all above average, they're really strong results. So that's one good thing about the school. We're good at getting good results for children and helping them go to good universities. But there's a lot more to it than that. Like I said, I was new this September and I knew Arks schools a little bit, but I didn't know this school. I didn't know Birmingham very well. I've been living away from Birmingham for 10 years. This school is very, very friendly. The teachers are very, very kind and it's very, very welcoming place to come. So that's really exciting. And I think that does make it a really different school compared to others, that it's very, very friendly. The crucial thing I would say, the thing I love most about the school is that it's going to be small. Only 120 children in year 7. Now that might seem big because it's bigger than your primary schools, but compared to most other secondary schools, that's tiny. Most secondary schools will have 180 or 200 children in them in year 7. We're going to have just 120. And that means we're going to get to know you and your families really, really well. And it means that we can guarantee for you that when you're 16, you don't have to leave and go and find a different college or a different place to study. You can stay with us and come to our sixth form. So there's a plan for you to start with us in September when you're 11. Some of you might be 12, most of you will be 11. And stay all the way through until you're 18 and you're ready to go to university. And that's pretty rare. And so I hope you're excited about that. Really good question, Abdo. Thank you very much. Let's see what's coming next. Mr. Cole's pressing some buttons. Here we go. Do pupils have to apply for sixth form? Really good question. I'm glad people are thinking far ahead. So the short answer is yes. And the reason why it's yes is when you go to sixth form, you have to make some choices about your subjects and your qualifications. Because in sixth form, you do very few subjects. Like I just said, in year 7, you're going to start on 11 subjects. That number might go down a little bit when you go to year 10 and start your GCSEs. You might be doing 9 or 10 subjects then. When you get to sixth form, that number's going to shrink down to maybe 4 or 3, or sometimes even just 1 subject in lots of detail. And so there has to be an application process to help you make sure you're getting on courses that you're going to be successful at. So when you do your GCSEs, if you don't get a very, very high score in your maths GCSE, then going to do maths A level is not a good idea because you're not going to be successful at it. And we want you to be successful. So there is a process whereby we help make sure the right people get on the right courses. But what you're hearing from me today as the head teacher is in 5 years' time, when we're talking about the end of year 11 and the start of year 12, that's going to go really quick. In 5 years' time, my plan is that all of these children right now that I'm speaking to will have a place in our sixth form where they can stay. The only conversation will be what subjects are they going to study? And I think that is really, really unique that we're able to say to you as a family, we're in it together all the way through right now from the 4th of May 2021 all the way through to May, June, July, August 2028, and it's time to go to university, we're committing to you, and I'm really excited about that. Okay. Will our parents still receive the report card? I'm so pleased that people have heard about report cards. Yes, is the answer. We got a lot of work to do to get the technology right and make sure the right information gets to the right people. But one thing we really do believe as a school, why I'm talking to you today, why we're going to have the induction meetings, is we can't be a good school and you can't be successful as a pupil at the school unless we're working really closely with parents and families. Somebody asked me before about communication. We've got to communicate a lot because you're with us in the school for 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. So around 30 hours a week, some lunch times, maybe 35 hours a week. But children are at home with their families for the rest of their time, 70, 80% of the time. And so we've got to work together. We can't do this as a school and not talk to parents, and parents are going to work with us as well. It's going to be a team effort. That's how we're going to be successful. So yes, lots of information coming home. Trips, I answered this before. I love school trips. So it'll be my mission, my goal, to make sure that everybody goes on a trip every half term. Now, whether that will be a goal we can achieve next year, tricky. We've got ambitious, because this year there's been no trips. So to go from 0 to lots, big deal. But that's the direction. I love school trips. I love day trips. I love short trips for just a couple of hours. I also like big long trips where we go and live somewhere for a week and sleep over. All sorts of trips. We're going to make them happen. There's going to be lots of them. I'm excited. Okay, what's coming up? I'm going too fast for Mr. Cole. He can't keep up with me. Here we go. Please describe myself in 3 words. Abdo, you're like an interviewer. I feel under pressure. Right, Abdo? Myself in 3 words. So, in 3 words. Whew. So, very determined. So determined to be 1 word. And I think very determined that every single child in the school does well. Okay? Really, really determined. Not just some children, not just these children over here or these children over there. Every single child in the school does well. So determined to be 1 word. Second word would be kind. Very, very kind. Very, very kind. And I think because I'm kind and I do, and I'm really determined and I want children to be successful, my 3rd word would be strict. Because if we're going to be really kind and we're going to look after you and we're going to care for you and we're going to work really hard to get you great grades, then like that's our side of the bargain. So your side of the bargain, the deal you're making is you're going to like meet our expectations. You're going to be respectful and hardworking and determined yourself. Can't all be one way. So yes, really, really kind, word number 1. But then the word that comes with that then is really, really strict, because we've got to make sure that when we're doing a good job for children, they're showing their respect for that by doing a good job themselves. Abdo, I hope I've got the job. Right. What will you get from our primary schools? Good question. A really sensible question. The first thing to say is starting secondary school should be a fresh start. So yes, we will go to primary schools. We have to go to the primary schools and find out lots and lots of information. They will tell us about medical conditions. They will tell us about your English and maths work. They will tell us about things that you've done well at primary school. I'm most interested though in hearing from you and your parents about your time in primary school and what you have enjoyed, what you found difficult. I'm not going to start with anybody saying, oh, well, the primary school said this boy couldn't do this or this girl couldn't do that. It's a fresh start for everyone. I want everyone to come to school excited in September. And that's why I'm going to meet with you all, because then you're going to tell me yourselves, all about yourselves. And that's what we're going to go on. And that's where we're going to start. So yes, we're going to get information from primary school about your background and your grades and all these sorts of things. But the most important conversation about in transition is me meeting you and your families. Okay, last 2 questions, Mr. Cole says. So here we go. Do we have a summer scheme? Thank you for asking that question. So you'll have seen on the news or in the media or online, There's lots of talk about schools running summer camps, summer schools, all these sorts of things. It's all a bit new at the moment. We don't completely know exactly how it's going to work. If it does happen here, we don't know whether that's something we will do with maybe our younger children, year 6, year 7, year 8, or something we'll do with our older children. So right now I can't tell you much about summer schemes. By the time we meet for our one-to-one meeting, I'll be able to tell you more about it then. Thank you for that question. Our final question, who has the honour of that question? How can parents get involved in school life? Thank you for asking. So, lots of ways. One, we've got some information that's going to come out in the next few months about the possibility of becoming a school governor. That's definitely one way that parents get involved. We are also hoping to have a parent council, a group of parents that meets with me on a regular basis and works with me as a team to give me feedback and to give me ideas about how we lead and manage the school. In previous years, we've also had different parent workshops and activities where parents came into the school each week. We'll look at getting something like that set up. Obviously, it's stopped because of COVID this year. And the most important place, the place we're going to start in terms of parents getting involved, is on the very small step of getting very, very involved in their child's homework in the first few weeks of September, so that we know that that starts well. Okay, Mr. Cole has closed the Q&A. I hope that this kind of hour or so we've had together has been a good start in us getting to know each other and has been a helpful start in trying to answer some of your questions and provide some information. It's not perfect. I'd love it if we were all here together, but I hope it's been helpful. No one needs to panic about equipment or uniform or what's going to happen next. We've got lots of time. Crucially, we are all, every single one of you, going to have a sit-down, one-to-one conversation with me before the summer holidays, at which point I will be able to answer any questions you have and solve any problems that are coming up. So no one needs to be panicked. I want you to be excited about school, and I want you to be thinking of questions that you might want to ask me when we do meet in June or July. I'm really excited about you being the next set of year 7s to join the school in September, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you then. Miss Hooper, my PA, has been calling you and emailing you to set up meetings. If you've got urgent questions, you really need to know the answer straight away, do get in touch via her, and we'll get back to you really, really quickly. Okay, thank you for your time this afternoon. Really nice to meet you. Goodbye.